Hello everyone, welcome back to another Paladins guide video. It is Dylan and we are going to jump right into things. Alright guys, as usual we are going to be starting with the champion's abilities, and then afterward we are going to be getting into the talents. Now in this video we are going over Vatu, which you probably know from clicking on this video. And his first ability, his primary fire, is his kunais, and what they do is they launch 3 kunais from your hands about every second or so. Each of them deal 300 damage, and he can hold 5 at a time, and they're really close range. You have to be within like, I don't know, like 75 units or so to deal max damage. His secondary fire is his shadow bombs, which if you can combo these with your kunai knives, like in between throws, they're very good. They will stick to anything, and just like his kunais, they throw 3 of them. When they stick, they do 10 damage if you hit an opponent, and then they explode, doing 200 damage in a radius of 10 units, which makes them explode and do damage as so. Then his first real main ability is ambush, and when you ambush someone, you have to be pretty close to them to use it, but like not like, it's like mid-range ability, and it teleports you right into their face, doing 200 damage, which is really good. If you see someone weak, you can use his next ability, dash, that we're going to go over real shortly, and then you can ambush them, hit them with your 3 knives. And then another very interesting ability is that you can refire this ability within 4 seconds of activating it. So say you see a weak target, you ambush them, you get the kill on them within 4 seconds, and you see another target, you can ambush right to them before the cooldown starts. And finally we have his dash ability, which he has 3 of them at a time, and whichever way you're looking, whichever way you're facing, whichever direction you input on your keyboard, when you hit that ability key, will send you flying in that direction. Lastly, we have his ultimate, which it charges really fast, which is kind of cool about it, and it's not the best ultimate, but it's also not terrible. It will dash you in a straight line. It will stun any enemies you hit for about 1 second, maybe a little more. It does 800 damage, and the more you're immune to crowd control, and charging it makes it do more damage. And if you wait the full 3 seconds for it to charge, it will automatically go off. It's not the best ultimate, but I have got some pretty cool plays with it, which you will see later on in the video. So now that we have all of his abilities out of the way, let's get right into his talents. Now, I'm going to start off by saying I think there is only one talent that honestly is good with him, and that is his enveloping shadows, which will be the last talent we go over, because let's just cover the other 2 not so great ones to begin with. So omnipresent is pretty self-explanatory. Instead of only being able to ambush the 2 opponents, you can ambush one, and then within 4 seconds you can ambush another. With this, you gain an additional charge, and you can also ambush 2 allies, which is somewhat useful if you want to get to cover, but honestly, it's very situational, and you get a lot less value of it than some of the others that we're going to go over. And the second is unearring. It increases the radius of shadow bombs by 5 units, and they now home to enemies. Honestly, I didn't really play around with this one that much, but I don't think it's that great. I mean, it depends on what kind of champion, like how you want to play him, but to play him most effectively, you want to use this next talent. The next talent is enveloping shadows, and what it does is every single time you hit an enemy with one of your basic abilities, when you hit someone with your kunai, 15% of the cooldown on your abilities gets taken away. And this might not seem like a lot, but it is crazy how more often you can use your abilities with this talent. And if you build a deck around it, I kid you not, which you've probably seen in some of the gameplay, I can almost dash infinitely. I almost never run out of dashes. My shadow bombs are there like every 3 seconds. It's crazy. The cooldowns and the movement abilities is so crazy when it comes to this talent. And honestly, if you're not picking this talent, usually I don't say this because it's a game of choice, but if you're not picking this talent, you are not playing this champion to his full potential. Now that we have gone over all that Vatu is, his abilities, his talents, let's get right into the loadout that I've been using that I feel like makes him the best champion in the game. We have Night Watcher, which is the most important card. You're going to want to max this out at level 5, and it reduces the cooldown of dash by 2.5 seconds after hitting at least one enemy with your shadow bombs. Now, this is very good because with the talent that I said you should use, you're going to be getting your shadow bombs very fast. And Shattered Worlds, I only have it level 1. If you bumped it up higher, you might find it more effective. I like to keep it at level 1 though, because the level 4 cards we're about to go over, I like having them at level 4. But Shattered Worlds, when you get a kill, it also reduces that shadow bombs cooldown by 8% more. So like these things go hand in hand. You can dash, shadow, dash, shadow, dash, shadow, which is so very effective. But with those two, which are our main reason in this deck that makes Vatu so good, the next card that we'll go over is Contemplation, because this also goes with the whole dashing sort of thing. You heal for 77.5 every 0.5 seconds for 2 seconds after activating dash. And with the amount you'll be dashing, you can heal so quick and so fast just from dashing. You barely need a healer. I mean, obviously sometimes there's times you get absolutely bursted and you need the quick heal from a healer, but he can sustain himself so well with this card. It's kind of impressive. And then he can get reduced damage by this next card, which is Gathering Shadow. You see an opening, but you know you're going to take a lot of damage if you go in. Gathering Shadow, perfect card in your deck. After you activate that ambush, you take 20% less damage. So maybe you die if you don't have this card, but because of the 20% less damage, you ambush in, kill their healer, and you're taking 20% less damage for 2 seconds. So maybe you survive with 200 health, 3 quick dashes, you get out, you're at 1,300 health, and you can go right back into fight. And the final card is Tranquility, which increases your jump height. Now, this card really, honestly, you could probably switch around. I just like having the jump height, because to jump and then dash up and get really high in the air, I love to do that, and it's a really good way to get information and a really good way to attack enemies from an angle they don't usually expect an attack to be coming from. Now that we have the basics of Vatu out of the way, let's hone in on the in-game choices you can make as him. Now, I'm going to start off by saying the very two most important items to buy as him are Cauterize, but the second one might surprise you. Cauterize, obviously, because he's a damage dealer. But the second one is Death Hands. Now, hear me out on this one. Death Hands is how fast he reloads. And Vatu, he has a slow reload. Let's just put it that way. He has a slow reload. And he doesn't have enough ammo. He has to reload a lot, is what I'm saying. But with his cooldowns, being able to dash really fast cancels his reload. So without the Death Hands, you won't be able to take full advantage of his quick dashing, because you'll have to wait an extra second or two for the reload, and then you can dash. But if you get Death Hands 2, which is what I like to go to, you can almost reload instantly, dash, reload, dash, reload, dash. And if you even get it up to Death Hands 3 sometimes, it is quicker to shoot, reload, shoot, reload, shoot, reload, than to actually just hold down and throw, then throw, then throw, then throw. throwing reload, throw reload, throw reload is actually faster, which I found quite fascinating while I was learning how to play him. And the third big item you need is if the enemy team has any, and I mean any sort of crowd control, you're gonna want to get resilience. Vatu is such a champion dependent on mobility, and his mobility makes him insane. If you can be super mobile, you're broken. You're like one of the best champions in the game. I kid you not, I think Vatu right now is one of the best champions in the game. At least for single playing and just be like soul sustaining and stuff like that, he is single-handedly one of the best champions in the game. But the issue comes, as you've probably seen in these videos multiple times, and if you haven't seen it, on your screen right now is a few examples of it. When you get grabbed by a Genos, when you get stunned by a Furia Beam, any sort of crowd control, Vatu is a sitting duck, and if you can limit the amount of crowd control that hits you and the effect of it, you're going to be in a great place, because that means you'll be dashing about like crazy. So just to recap, Cauterize, Death Hands, Resilience, the 3 best items to use when playing Vatu. And now, with that all the way, with the video coming to a close, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I tried changing things up a bit in this video, making it more extensive and a better guide overall, I feel. And I think the editing really was better in the way I just planned out the video and did recording and took clips. And like, I personally think it was a lot better than my past videos. You guys let me know down in the comments below. But I'm just going to give you some general tips on how to play Vatu. And the first one I already kind of touched on in the last section about items is try your hardest to avoid crowd control. If you're diving a Furia in the back, make sure you have at least one dash, or she's already used her beam. Don't get too close until she's used her beam, because if you get stunned, you're dead. Same goes with Genos. Genos is really deadly, especially if he's running his crippling talent. He's one of the hardest healers to kill if he is running that talent. I would not recommend pushing him until you see him use that ability. The second tip I have for you guys is pretty loosey-goosey. It's kind of the last tip I have. But always be dashing. You can't shoot what you can't hit. If you're always dashing, you go dash behind the person and then back to where you were before, you're going to have them spinning in circles and you're not going to take an ounce of damage. He is so hard to hit when he's dash, shoot, dash, shoot. Honestly, it's like an EV blink, except you can do it 24/7, and the next location you're going to isn't where you last came from, so no one can predict where you're going to go. He is so good at messing with people's brains, and if you have good aim, the sky's the limit with him. He is such a good champion. And there's one more point I just thought of before this video comes to an end. Snipers are your worst enemy, but also he's really good at killing them. If you can get up and close and personal without the sniper seeing you, it's an easy kill and you can deal with them easily. But if they're targeting you, you are going to have a really bad game. It is so hard to get close to a sniper because you're going to have to waste all your dashes, and then he doesn't do enough damage up close to deal with a Kinessa AR shot or a Strix pistol shot. He just doesn't do enough damage to quickly kill them. He needs those dashes to be able to finish kills. So snipers will be a little bit of an issue, but honestly, if you're a good Vatu player, you should be able to handle it. With that being said, I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed this Vatu guide, and let me know what you thought about it down below. I'm so happy to be back on YouTube. It's been way too long. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next guide video.